Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Canon Chatter TV in what is a somewhat tired and subdued mood this evening. Some for not so obvious reasons, some for obvious reasons due to last night's result against United. But yeah, I'm joined by Lottie. How are you feeling, Lottie? Because I know you've been on.
I'm actually exhausted. If I'm honest with you, I've had about 3 or 4 hours sleep in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
My voice is going, as you can hear, because obviously I was up in Manchester. I left at 11:24 this morning. Did not get back home till 4 o'clock. Don't ask me how. I wasn't impressed. But, we all know Manchester's a shithole. So I wanted to get home.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, like I said, guys, are somewhat tired and subdued. So we've all had busy weeks. Stephen's not with us at the moment for tonight's show, but he hopefully will be joining us a little bit later before we basically tune off. But yeah, it's been tiring. I was in London on yesterday. God, I even forgot it was yesterday. Was up at 4:45, got a 5:30 train, and I was back just before the United game.
You was up and moving before I was, weren't you?
Yeah, and then back up this morning, like for 7, for obviously getting the kids ready for school and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, quite tired.
I think the weirdest thing that happened to me was I was on the train. We just left Euston, and someone actually was let down on their tickets. They offered me and the person I went with £600 for our tickets.
Jeez.
I was like, nah. I turned around and said, no, sorry. Last time I was away with Arsenal, we lost 2-0 at Leicester in November 2019. Vardy and Maddison goals. I haven't been away in so long. You're not having the tickets. I put my foot down.
I respect that.
But do you know what? Do you know what? The guy got tickets on the train. There was people who wanted theirs. But I think he paid like 70 quid for one.
Okay.
And then obviously he paid for another one, so he didn't lose his £600, which was like, whoa.
Cool.
It's one of them things I'm not going to forget. And I'm like, £600 for 2 tickets. But especially when they're like 27 quid each. It's like, wow.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I rate that, respect that. But yeah, we're here tonight, guys, obviously to talk about the United game last night. So we're here to review the 3-2 defeat to United and obviously look ahead to the Everton game, which is taking place next Monday. So we'll run the intro video and then we'll get straight into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So yes, welcome back to Canon Chatter TV. G Talks Arsenal, your host for this evening. As I said a couple of seconds ago, Stephen will be joining us hopefully a little bit later, but I am here with Lottie and we are going to be reviewing the Manchester United game last night and obviously previewing the Everton game, which will be taking place next Monday. So yeah, well, you know what I mean? Where do we start with obviously last night's game? We'll go to the chat first.
I know where to start. Smith Rowe's got another goal on that goal sheet. 20 goals incoming.
He's racking them up. I'm still adamant he's not going to get 20, but you know what?
He's well and truly on his way.
You know what? The more goals he gets, the better for Arsenal. But yeah, we'll head to the comment section and just see what's going on. So Robert, United fan in there tonight. There'll be no banter from me. I think Arsenal did well yesterday. I think Arteta is one who made a weird selection changes. And that's something we're going to be covering kind of straight off from the beginning of the show. But the last comment kind of just popped up here. Gamer DJ.
I think that's Calvin. I'm not sure. Calvin. Yeah.
Okay, evening chatters, evening Calvin. So yeah, that's really where we're gonna basically start the show. Really, is the team selection. We're gonna just kind of obviously rewind, back to last night's loss, before the game even kicked off, etc., and obviously look at the team sheet. So Arteta, obviously, the last couple of weeks, Lottie, it's been really easy to kind of predict. Arsenal's starting 11, most of the team, it's been pretty settled in terms of the defense, the midfield, also with obviously the two Hairland boys on the wing. And, you know, the new partnership of Sambi and Partey in the middle, that seems, you know, to be kind of, you know, taking shape. Up front, although we're not firing on all cylinders, he's pretty much picked, you know, a Lacazette and an Aubameyang over the last couple of games. But yesterday's team news, obviously, I'm not sure if you saw it because I know you was out kind of pre-drinking and stuff like that.
I was watching it. I was at the bar when that team sheet came out. Yeah. I had the team sheet in my hand and I was ordering drinks at the same time.
Okay, cool.
So
when the team sheet obviously came out, what were your initial thoughts with regards, obviously, the 11 that Arteta went with?
What the hell is El Sideways doing on that pitch? Straight up. That's the first sentence out of my mouth. I didn't care about the rest. My problem was with El Nene. I know he's a grafter, but he just goes backwards and he goes sideways, but never, ever forwards. And it's seriously pain in the backside with him. I mean, he had a really, really, really good couple of opportunities, and he still went backwards or sideways, just never forwards. If I wanted to see someone go to the left, I'd listen to Beyonce's song. Do you know what I mean? Go forward. That's what I want from a player in the midfield. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Partey didn't have the best of games either, so I can't really say anything on the midfield. It all came from Odegaard.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him actually getting his head down and not disappearing, so to speak, like he normally does. But other than that, I was happy with the rest of it. Was hoping Aubameyang would be benched. Whether it's because he's captain, he hasn't been benched, and Arteta hasn't the kahunas, as Troy Deeney would say, to do so. Personally, I do think he needs to be benched. He needs to be taught a lesson. Lacazette works his socks off every time he steps onto that pitch. And I think with Martinelli and Smith Rowe around him, as well as Odegaard, he's got the leadership skills there to make that ball go in the net, personally. You see how he plays with the Hale End boys. He should be starting, not him.
Yeah.
It's 2 games in a row now that he's had 2 easy peasy shots. Even I could score them. You know? It's just, and he missed them. I mean, the one from Newcastle is now a meme. I don't know if you've seen it floating on Twitter. It's an absolute meme.
Yeah, it is.
The face, and because Sky caught him, and he knew, you could see on his face, he knew he should have scored. But he had an easier one this week, and I was sitting in that away end, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I couldn't even sing the song for him. Yeah, I'm so disappointed with him at the moment. I just can't do it.
It seems to be the kind of feeling, obviously, amongst Arsenal fans. But with regards to team sheet, like when it came out, I kind of glossed over it, and I thought to myself, "What's going on here?" Obviously, you know, some of the players there, I think, have pretty much kind of cemented their first team place. So, you know, Ramsdale is a given. The back 4 at the moment is a given, but I think fans are definitely beginning to kind of, you know, raise a couple of eyebrows or question marks about, you know, if Tierney is fit, why is Tavares kind of, you know, getting as much game time as he is? And that's no disrespect to Tavares, because he has played well. Obviously, he had a bad game against Liverpool. And I know, you know, defensively last night, there were a few occasions where he was kind of suspect. But yeah, I think definitely questions are starting to be asked from Arsenal fans with regards, you know, Tavares was brought in to deputise for Tierney. You know, as far as we're aware, Tierney's fit. So why is Tierney not getting games?
Yeah.
With regards to midfield, I've said on these streams so many times before, I'm not El Nene's biggest fan. He's one player that, for me, I'm not really sure why he's at the club, other than, you know, not many clubs out there in the market want him. So I was disappointed to see El Nene, if I'm honest. But I know, obviously, Arteta's going to have his reasons. You know, he is more experienced. He does sit a little bit deeper. He put in a brilliant performance last year at Old Trafford, I believe it was. So I can kind of see some of the logic, but it did really raise an eyebrow for me to see El Nene in the side, particularly where, you know, he's not really played him. So it's like you haven't played him for the last kind of 3, 4, 5 games, if not longer. And then he's just brought him in randomly against United.
United, of all people. I'd understand if it was Everton, but United is stupid. Could this be a fitness thing so that he goes off to AFCON, do you think?
I have no idea.
Because he hasn't had any minutes otherwise, has he, really?
Yeah. I don't know. It was no surprise to see Martinelli. Obviously, when he's come on as a substitute, he's had an impact. Saka wasn't quite ready for the game. ESR was no surprise. Partey, no surprise. I was a little bit surprised to see Odegaard playing kind of in a number 10 role behind Aubameyang. But at the same time, I was pleasantly surprised. I think, he does need opportunities to kind of prove his worth, prove himself. I wasn't yet at the stage like you where I wanted Aubameyang benched. However, I probably regret feeling that way after what I would just class as another kind of non-existent performance, really. But yeah, so that was kind of obviously generally the team news. I think I saw from Twitter that.
What were your thoughts on Martinelli starting? I was so excited for him.
Yeah, I was happy with Martinelli starting. Yeah, because I thought, against Newcastle, he came on. And I think that's all we want from Martinelli is for him to come on as a substitute and take his opportunity. And he did that against Newcastle. So I was more than happy to see him get a start, get some minutes. I think of all the players last night, I wouldn't say he had an exceptionally good game, but,
he was up the top of the best
ones.
I don't
he ran his socks off. He gave it everything.
Ran
and he was a threat, He asked questions of the United defense. He was direct, anytime he had the ball at his feet, you thought something could potentially happen. I was happy that he, got his start and so forth. But yeah, we'll head to the comments now anyway and just see what everyone's saying.
Wasn't in there tonight.
Yeah. Good evening, George. Evening, guys. How are you both? We're good. A little bit tired, a little bit flagging, but we're all right. I had ESR on the bench, Lottie. I had him in my first team.
Jamie, I bought him for 5 million. I've never benched him. He's never moved from my midfield.
He's doing bits,
Mr. Reliable at times, trust me.
Yes, Cal here. Lottie got it right. Good evening, Chris. And big up Chris for obviously doing the team sheets again for me today at quite short notice because it's been a pretty busy week. But you always deliver, mate. So thank you very much for that. Sorry, I didn't even fail to read the comment there. What's happened to Tierney? He's obviously fit from the training pictures, but now can't get into team. And that's what I said. That's why I think.
What I was watching yesterday, I don't know if you picked up on it, but ESR was drifting. And Tavares was on that left side by himself. I mean, Smith Rowe can't drift when Tierney's there. Although I love the Tierney and Smith Rowe relationship.
Yeah,
I love it because he guides him in where he wants him to be. Tavares loves getting forward. He's an ex-winger, as I always say, and it's just.
No,
I need him to come back on. I need him to be a leader. I need him to be captain. He'd sort them all out. Even Gabriel as captain would be nice. Ramsdale, even better.
Definitely. Definitely. Cannon FC compliments of the season, folks. George, I would drop our captain, maybe a minority there, but not captain material for me. Ben, I'm El Neni's defense at the moment, and same with Partey. We don't have that number 9 to pass the ball through. Midfield 2, Uba starting is like starting with number 10. And we're going to speak about Uba a little bit later in the show. Cannon FC, Arteta did an injustice re-signing Uba, knowing damn well that Uba does not suit his system. Come January, we need to go and find a finisher that suits his system. Ben, Katie needs to come back in. We've got Robert. Again, Partey was crap in my opinion. Laka needs to start Martinelli. Robert, again, Arsenal's problem was straight after the goal. They sat back instead of going for the throw. We'll definitely get onto that once we cover the first Smith Rowe goal. David, hi, hope you're both well. All good. I wasn't able to see the game, so only know the basics of what happened. Don't worry, we'll run through kind of the main events in tonight's show. I chose Saka over Smith Rowe for a few weeks ago. I think it's with my FPL, and I must remember to change it tonight. Don't worry, we'll be giving you an update on that later. So obviously you were at the game. I was watching from my armchair, so very, very different. But obviously the game started well, and I thought it was a pretty even contest, to be honest. And I think in the first kind of 10, 15 minutes, I think if anything, we were showing some of the better play. We had quite a few set pieces.
All game.
Yeah, we had quite a few set pieces, and they seemed to be under quite a bit of pressure. And then obviously on the 13th minute, I believe it was, this goal went in. Now, we can talk about this goal for many reasons. Obviously, Hale boy Smith Rowe got the goal, but that probably wasn't it's probably not what it's going to be remembered for. But obviously, you was at the game. Try and kind of sum up the atmosphere at the game, because
the thing is,
I was baffled and confused sitting at home in my sitting room.
Yeah,
so
no, it kind of went in. We jumped about, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the stands went quiet. I didn't know what was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
And obviously it was being reviewed. And then it went through, and it's just literally, I actually jumped up in the front on top of the seats in front of me, screaming my head off. I was so pleased for him. I mean, we were 1-0 up. Do you know what I mean? When was the last time we scored first at Old Trafford?
Yeah. From open play as well.
For Hale to do that,
Yeah.
it's just the icing on the cake. Absolute icing on the cake for him.
But what did you actually make of the goal itself? So obviously, I'll be honest, I have such little confidence. I have such little confidence in VAR and the officials that I actually didn't believe that it was going to be given, even though I knew it was a goal. I knew no Arsenal player had done anything wrong. The whistle hadn't gone, but I was just thought that they're not going to give it to us because they never give us anything. However, obviously the goal was given. Now, I don't know if you saw it, but basically when the corner came in, Fred stood on De Gea's foot or something like that. And obviously De Gea went down.
With his big feet. Sorry. I don't care. Goals are goals.
Yeah. Obviously De Gea went down. I know Fred did signal to stop the game. The ref didn't see. The game continued. I think El Nene won the first ball at the edge of the box. He kind of knocked it down to Smith Rowe. And obviously Smith Rowe just took a shot, which probably would have been saved had De Gea been on his feet. But happy with the decision that obviously the goal was given?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. For that particular thing. I mean, we all know the standing of refereeing in this country compared to, say, Europe is appalling and it's abysmal. So, yeah, no, just, I was well pleased for him. Like, obviously, the stands lit up with Smith Rowe's song with Saka.
Yeah. Obviously,
Saka was on the bench, but it's just, the stands just lit up. We were singing all the way through. And every week you hear me say, I love the away fans. Yeah. And I was there. So, it was great.
It was a bit of a weird one, obviously, sitting at home, because like I said, I was convinced that the goal wasn't going to be given. And then obviously once it was given, it's kind of then hard to celebrate a goal when it's almost like there's been such a massive delay. Obviously, I was chuffed. I was happy, but I'd celebrated, the emotion had already kind of left my body, at that point. Yeah. So I'd already celebrated the goal, and then it was like, there was this long wait. By the time it was given, it was more relief than celebration at that point, because I was just relieved that the goal was given at that point. And obviously the players celebrated, etc. And you could see that United players weren't too happy. To be honest, it was just because of the circumstances. Yeah. Had it been them, they would have been, they wouldn't have had no issue celebrating or accepting the fact that they'd gone 1-0 up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the build up to their goal was brilliant, because the amount of shots that Mr. Number 7 missed was it was glorious. It just like trying to get them bicycle kicks in, and it just failed. And like we were all standing there in the stands, because obviously they were shooting in front of us at the time. We're just sitting there dancing around, singing for Ramsdale and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Some comments here again. Robert, was a goal, but a gift. Didn't like how they celebrated it, but yeah. And I had that kind of conversation with Devontae, one of my ex-pupils who was on the show.
Oh yeah, how was his reaction?
Oh god, it was just annoying. And end of the match is just completely like blowing up my WhatsApp.
Did he terrorize you?
Yeah, he did. He literally did. Just gave me an absolute headache. But yeah, it is what it is. I would have done the same to him. So, it is what it is. Cannon FC here, VAR affected us yesterday as well. And we will talk about a potential penalty that we should have or could have had in the game a little bit later in the show. NDB30 TV, good evening. ESR goal was legitimate. De Gea should have played until the whistle is blown, for sure. Chris was listening on the Radio 5 and they were convinced it wasn't going to be allowed. As was I. I was absolutely convinced it wasn't going to be given. Friendly fire from Fred. No head injury, play on goal. NDB30 TV, quick question. Right now, who would you take in goal, De Gea or Ramsdale? For me, Ramsdale, no questions. What about you, Lottie?
I'm going to be biased. Of course I'm going to say Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah. I don't like De Gea. He's got a rat face.
Yeah.
I know that's a really pure excuse, but he's so rat-faced. I like him as a keeper, but I think it's probably because I'm I'm being biased, and I absolutely adore Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, he's made a phenomenal start to his career. So right now, to be honest,
for him to get all the stick he did from us, well, not us particularly, but certain sections of the fan base, and for him to go on and like he has, incredible.
Yeah, the way he's coming and performed right now, and I know it's a bold statement to make, but I wouldn't exchange him for anyone right now. And that's, obviously, in an ideal world, you want all world-class players, but I just think the guy deserves a lot of credit. Like you said, for the stick he got, he's come in and quite easily, if you were to stop the season right now, arguably he's been a player of the season.
Well, definitely. I mean, he's
and as a goalkeeper for a top-flight club like Arsenal, that's some achievement. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, definitely, especially when you were at Sheffield United last season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's even nominated for Player of the Month. I mean, we did the voting. Obviously, the usual suspects are there: Smith Rowe, Saka, and obviously, I voted for Ramsdale, and at the moment, he's actually leading the poll.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you see your emails, get voting.
Yeah, and it's no surprise at all, obviously, because of the form he's in.
Definitely not. I mean, he throws his shots even if they're like 15 meters away. Do you know what I mean? He just throws himself at it. He's got no fear.
Cannon FC said Ramsdale for captaincy one.
Oh no, Kieran Tierney.
Well, look, we will discuss that when we discuss Uber a little bit later in the show. But obviously, we took the lead in the 13th minute, and what I could only consider a dream start, obviously away at Old Trafford. But I don't know how you feel, but I just feel like we did last night, what we've done several times this season, where we got the goal, and for some reason or another, I don't know whether it's Arteta, I don't know whether it's the players, but there was almost like a default mechanism that kicked in where we decided to kind of sit back. And what that basically did was invite United onto us. The game kind of took a turn. They scored the equaliser in the 44th minute, and they then took the lead in the 51st minute. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate to say it, but they were good goals.
Yeah, no, they were good goals.
Both really good goals.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that. I mean, obviously the first one was down in front of us, and I was just like, okay, fine. But I will say that was the point when we realised there was actually fans at Old Trafford. I know the Stretford end, you can just about hear them down the other end, but the rest of the ground woke up, which was really disappointing. But banter is banter. We forgot they were there. We were singing at one point, do you want us to sing your song? Because it was that quiet. But yeah, it's just one of them goals. Yeah. It was Bruno that scored first, wasn't it? Yeah,
Bruno scored the equaliser, and then Ronaldo got the goal to put them ahead.
Second and third. Yeah.
I have to be honest though. I know United can play ball, and at the end of the day, they've got firepower that can hurt any team in the Premier League, if not in Europe.
I find it's the case of being organised.
Yeah, United's issue this season has been more so their defence rather than their attack. Oh, yeah. But I have to be honest. I was a bit concerned how easily they scored those goals. One came down the right, and I think the goal on the 51st minute the equaliser came down on the left, and the 2-1 goal came down in the right. But they seem to kind of just thread through our defence, like pierce our defence very easily. To score those goals.
It's also a case of remembering we're still a young team, still a lot to learn, but we're still 2 points clear of United. Look at it that way. And that's what I said. I mean, obviously I was up there getting the banter. I actually took my jacket off in the pub and just sat there in my Arsenal shirt. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Really didn't care. I was happy with them. I mean, a few United fans came and sat at our table with a couple of goonies they were with, and obviously they were giving it large. And then one of them pipes up, "Yeah, but you wouldn't have won if you didn't have Ronaldo. You haven't beaten us in 2018." Thing is, it was due to come at some point, but. Is it because they got Ronaldo back?
Well,
because he's always fancied himself against us, and he always will.
Yeah, and he's an exceptional. He's an exceptional player, and he has been a difference in a lot of close games that United have had. There's been so many games where United have been in a position where they're going to drop points, or even not take any points whatsoever, and he pops up, at these crucial points in games.
Not always.
Not always, Watford. Not always, but do you know what I mean? If you look at the goals he scored, this season. You know, they seem to be important goals. You know, he can't kind of compensate for how poorly they defend, but he's their top goal scorer this season by a country mile.
He also needs a Golden Globe for the acting as well.
Yeah, well, that's Ronaldo, isn't it? He's always been. But
you know what? I don't know what it is. I think it's just bugging me more because I'm watching the WSL.
Yeah,
these women get thrown on the heads and they get straight back up. They have broken noses and all sorts. They get up, and I sit there and watch the men's football. And I think, what the hell are you doing? Get up.
Yeah. No, definitely. Go to some comments before we move on. When we're winning, we go into cruise control, self-destruction at its finest. Yeah, it happened last night. It's happened throughout the season this year.
Just park the bus. It's so annoying.
Yeah. David here. I don't know why we keep sitting back after scoring. It doesn't work. It's also just like Arsenal to concede just before the half time. Cal here, was Arteta exploring players forward after the first goal? If yes,
I couldn't see Arteta from when I was sitting. I could see Carrick, but couldn't see the boss, unfortunately.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell, to be honest, from where I was watching at home. David, Ronaldo has saved United many times this season. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. And NDB30 TV, I was scared about Ronaldo. He understands the rivalry between us and them, for sure. And at this point, I can see Stephen backstage. Are you good to go, Stephen? 2 minutes, no problem. Well, we'll move on at this point. Obviously, we went into halftime at 1-1. As we've already discussed, you know, we came out into the second half and it was a bit more of the same, really. I don't think at any point it was a one-sided game, but United, with obviously their attacking options, took the lead in the 51st minute. Both very good goals, I have to horribly say. And I was concerned with the way they sliced through our team at times. But obviously, on the 67th minute, we scored a really good goal of ourselves. It was a second goal to make it 2-2, and obviously a second goal from open play. And it was this gentleman here who actually, got us back into the game at 2-2. Obviously, you was at the game. Obviously, Man United took a 2-1 lead. Odegaard popped up, 10, 15 minutes later and got the equaliser. You must have been buzzing at this point.
Do you know what? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I was celebrating before who I realised who scored.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the stands just lit up with the noise. And I was like, oh my God, I just went with it. And I didn't find out until after everybody sort of calmed down and we were singing the Old Trafford song, who the hell scored? Because I was looking at the scoreboard down at Stretford End because obviously the names come up. So I was like, I didn't even see it go in, so I do need to watch that one back. But I'm really pleased for him. I mean, his critics have been on his case for a while, and he just needs something to shut them up. And I feel like they have, and now these critics have now moved on to our captain. But that's deserved.
You know what? I'm not sure they've moved on. I really am not sure. Just from what I've seen, kind of on socials and stuff like that. It's a difficult one because I feel as though most Arsenal fans, including myself, we were left feeling underwhelmed with obviously the transfer window and the recruitment we did. Obviously, that's somewhat changed the mood in terms of obviously Ramsdale's performances, Tavares being in the team, Tomiyasu starting, Ben White forming a decent partnership. So I think most of Arsenal fans have somewhat regretted, the way we felt with regards to recruitment. However, I feel like with Odegaard, it was most of us probably didn't want Odegaard. And I say that on the basis of some of the other attacking midfielders that we were linked with. So I think in a way, similarly to Tavares, Ramsdale and so forth, he kind of came in on at a disadvantage where the fans weren't best pleased. I think most of us had jumped on, well, definitely me, had jumped on the Maddison bandwagon. So I think he started kind of like on the back foot. But I think what's happened is the other players like Tomiyasu, Ramsdale and Tavares, they've kind of put in performances where we've kind of sat up and said, you know what, I can see why we signed that player. And I think Odegaard has done that to a certain extent, but I just don't think he's done it as consistent as some of those.
I just don't think he's there yet. I mean, he didn't really. He sort of played consistently when we had him loan, but he just needs the consistency. But it's also a case of who do you drop to get him on?
Yeah, this is the thing.
If we want to sell Alex Lacazette in January, we're going to have to get more minutes.
Yeah.
So.
No, I hear you, but you know what? As you say, he got his start, and he got his goal, and he brought us back into the game. Because I definitely felt. Good evening, Stephen. I definitely felt at that point when we went 2-1 up, I kind of felt like it was. I don't know why, but I kind of felt like it was curtains. I felt like we weren't going to get back into this game, and from here on out, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I just had that feeling that we weren't going to win the game.
Really?
Once they went 2-1 up.
You know what? It's the total opposite in the Arsenal end.
Yeah.
They carried on. On. So, thing is, when there's time on the clock and you've got the right fans behind you, it does prepare them.
Yeah.
And for some of them, it is appreciated, which I'll come to that later.
Yeah, no problem. Good evening, Stephen. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
Tired. I've had to go to work the last 2 days. It's been strange. But yeah, do you know, it's grand. I think I'm almost glad that I had to go to do a full-time job today to forget about last night for a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, how are you guys?
Good.
I know we've got the Christmas theme going on and like the sort of winter thing, but like you're dressed like you're in the Antarctic there.
Who, me? I'm cold. I am cold. I'm not taking my scarf off. I have got my heating on though, but I'm cold.
Good.
Yeah, so we basically covered some parts of the game. So we're literally gonna breeze through some of these comments and then get on to a very much a turning point of this match. We've got Gary here. Good evening, Gary. Hello, G and Lottie, and now Stephen. Good evening, Gary. Gamer DJ, aka Cal. Crazy thought. Play Odegaard as our 9 drop Uber. Crazy thought. Play Odegaard as our 9 and drop Uber.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that for me, that's a bit crazy. I think, right now we're struggling for goals. I'm not sure.
Maybe try that in a cup game, not in the league game.
As a 9 is going to get us many more goals. But you know what? It's definitely not working what we're doing right now. So I don't know. Maybe it's worth a try. NDB30 TV, sorry, but Odegaard needs to do more. He was more effective in his loan spell. Yes, he scored a goal, but that tackle was shocking. He's a pro player in the elite league and he makes an amateur mistake. And that's something we're going to move on to just now, as you say that. Keith, good evening, Keith. Come on, you Gunners. And full compliment now. Right, so yeah, on a little bit after, obviously, the Odegaard equaliser, like I said, I didn't really see it coming. I thought we were pretty much out of the game at that point. This happened. This was on the 67th minute. And to be honest, I can't even really remember much about it. I can't remember who played the ball into the box. But as soon as this challenge happened, I know what I thought. I thought absolute stonewall penalty. Stephen, I'll come to you. What were your obviously initial thoughts when the challenge went in, and what do you make of obviously Odegaard, this tackle, and just generally this incident?
The initial thoughts were, what is Odegaard doing? It was a clumsy challenge, and absolute stonewall penalty. And I said last night, I tweeted out, I have no issue with that being given. I know they brought it back for VAR to look at and stuff. I have absolutely no issue with that. It was a stonewall penalty. It was a clumsy challenge. That said, Fred bought the challenge really well. He made that penalty. He was looking for that. If you watch the build up of the play, he moves his leg into position. He moves his leg across Odegaard, and he bought that foul really well. But no qualms with it. It was a stonewall penalty. My only, and I don't know if we mentioned it already, my only issue with it was the fact that, obviously they went to VAR for that, but yet they didn't go to VAR for Maguire tugging down.
We haven't touched upon it yet, but we will definitely.
And that annoyed me, the fact that VAR is very it seemed to work. They seemed to have it turned on the second half, but they didn't have it on the first half. But stonewall penalty. It was a clumsy challenge. But as I say, Fred bought it well, and you can have no argument over it. And
obviously, the big man stepped up, Ronaldo, and put it away. To be honest, I didn't expect anything less from him. I can't really remember him missing many penalties in his career. Lottie, what was the mood like at the stadium? Obviously, when this challenge came in, penalty was given, and obviously when Ronaldo scored it.
Oh no, it was Stonewall penalty, as you guys said. I just kind of stood there and was like, all right, we all know who's going to take it.
Yeah.
Kind of like he stood at the spot and I was sitting there like that, my hands over my face, like I can't watch this. I knew it was going in, but there's always that hope you get a nice worldly save from Ramsdale from what he's had this season, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? Ronaldo's the best penalty taker I've ever seen. And Messi, don't get me wrong, Messi's great, but Ronaldo is without doubt the best penalty taker I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And when he steps up, it's going in the back of
the line. It's a foregone conclusion. So that's literally how I felt. I just thought there was no point. There's no point at that moment. Obviously, anything can happen, but I was just convinced he was going to score, and he did. We'll go to the comments again. Good evening, Joseph. Big up Lottie and G and Stephen. Thoughts on Partey yesterday? I thought El Neni did well, but Lokonga should have played. Robert Stonewall Penn, which we agree. Keith, the Uber crap, get rid. We'll talk about Uber a little bit later, probably soon actually. Chris, I turned the radio off at that point, and as soon as it went to VAR, Mr. Arsenal podcast evening. And Gary here with the last comment, or the second to last one. Odegaard didn't get called for his foul in the box in the previous match. VAR is the equalizer. Skip fridge foul. Yep.
Gary, who said you on? Who said Gary on? Let me have my rant about VAR not working for us. Yeah, he is right though that sometimes VAR we'll get away with some things that we maybe shouldn't. Yeah. But it still doesn't change the fact that, in a game with the magnitude of last night, that if we had got a penalty at that point and gone in, 2-1 up at the break, it's a different story. So
yeah, definitely. The ref had a shocker to wave that away when he was right in front. Crazy. Still surprised they didn't check Maguire pulling down your player. And lastly, honest opinion on the game. Our passing was under hit and negative most of the game. Midfield was awful in every aspect. Tavares kept stopping and looking for support when he had his FB beaten. Right. So obviously, 3-2, we lost the game. It wasn't, I have to admit, I felt super deflated because I put out a tweet last night and I really, really felt that United were there for the taking. I didn't see anything from United that surprised me in that I knew they were going to be a goal threat in terms of going forward. Defensively, they were suspect. I don't think we really took advantage of that. But generally, I'll come to you first, Lottie, on this one. Obviously, what was your kind of initial feelings about the performance? And now you've had some time to obviously reflect on it. How are you feeling about the performance?
Do you know what? I know we lost. There's bits and pieces we can criticise, but we didn't completely roll over for United. And that's all I asked. As a travelling fan, that's all you ask. Don't roll over. Put the fight in there. And if you lose, you lose. That's the end. There's nothing else to it. But we could have been 5 points clear of United. But we're still 2 points clear. Nothing to be upset about as far as I'm concerned at the moment. As long as we win all our games for the rest of the month.
Stephen?
Where do I start? I mean, obviously, you've already talked about the majority of the incidents and stuff, and obviously I missed that. So I'm going to recap basically the whole match with my thoughts. So I'm going to start with the lineup. It seemed very much, I said this to you guys last night, this is why we question at times Arteta. Tavares had a stinker against Liverpool. Fair enough, he came back and he had a great performance against Newcastle. But it's obvious that he will play well against the lesser teams, but he hasn't got the experience defending against the top teams. Why Tierney was not put back in that team last night, I do not know. And it was evident again. Tavares was he's got so much potential, but he was out of his depth. The other thing that really struck me with the starting lineup was El Neni coming in. And obviously El Neni played last season in this fixture and actually played really well. And you can't help think, but all of a sudden Arteta is starting to overthink things again. You know, for a while the team was pretty settled, and all of a sudden now he's starting to just chop and change here and there, and that's what cost us last season. A settled team was performing, and now this chopping and changing, and it's just not right. And Elneny, I know Joseph said he thought Elneny was quite good. I thought Elneny was poor. You know, I actually at one point I watched him go to kick the ball forwards, and it still managed to go backwards. I don't know how he did it, but he went to kick the ball forwards and it went backwards. You know, it's what he was doing in there. If you're not going to play Sambi in that game, who's been doing well, I don't understand why Sambi had a poor game against Liverpool and then came back, had a man of the match performance against Newcastle, and yet got dropped against United. Tavares had basically the same path and kept his place. And arguably we have a better player than Tavares to put in that left back spot than we do in the midfield spot instead of Sambi. So why Sambi got dropped? And if he was dropped, why didn't we play Ainsley Maitland-Niles? Why is Elneny getting a start? You know, why is he still at this club? So yeah, frustrating. I thought we were sloppy in possession. We gave the ball away too much. We actually overall in the balance of the game had more possession than United. They were there for the taking. We should have beaten them. We should have had a penalty in the first half. We should have gone in 2-1 up at half time. The first goal, no issues with it. I know somebody asked earlier on Twitter, you know, what was my sort of thoughts on that, on the hair being down. You play to the ref's whistle. You're taught that. You know, one of the first things you're taught as a kid is you play to the ref's whistle. The ref didn't blow his whistle, so you take your chances when they're there. No problem with that goal. I'm trying to think. The equaliser was Bruno Fernandes. I thought Ben White was not good. Ben White had a poor game. You know, he was sloppy again. He gave the ball back to United very easily for that goal. And he dropped off and gave, you know, Fernandes space. It wasn't great. But he's certainly still, and I said this before, he's not the £50 million player that we wanted yet. You know, to me, he's not worth 50 million. He may well be in the future, but he's still not there yet. So yeah, should have gone in 2-1 at half time. Ronaldo took his goal well, and Odegaard took his goal well. He was lucky that, you know, Aubameyang just managed to get out of the way, because that could have been another one. And I know you're going to talk about Aubameyang in a minute, so I'll not say anything more about him. And then, yeah, the penalty was a Stonewall penalty. But we still had chances to get back into the game. And I think the fact that we took Aubameyang off and took Odegaard off and replaced it with two players who have both openly said they're pretty much gone at the end of the season, I think that's alarm bells are ringing. And I know Henri said it afterwards, there's something not right there. There genuinely is something not right. Yeah, but I was disappointed because I thought we should have got more out of that game than we did.
And that was something that I was going to ask you both about, because I can't actually remember who it was that came off at some point. And to be honest, I watched the highlights, but I didn't really want to watch them in any kind of depth because I was just so flat from last night's result. But it was so deflating for me, and I don't know if you both felt the same or people in the chat felt the same. But I think it was NDB30 TV who brought it up in one of the comments right at the end, and it was this one here. It was like, why bring on Nketiah? And I know, you know, I've not been Pepe's biggest fan at times, but I've also defended him at times, and I just didn't understand the decision in bringing Nketiah on for whoever it was, and not bringing on Pepe. And Pepe hasn't featured, you know, even against Newcastle when changes were made, he didn't come on. And obviously last night in a game we're chasing, you know, whatever you can say about Pepe, the numbers don't lie. You know, in terms of assists, in terms of goals, in terms of having that moment. Yes, he frustrates us 9 out of 10 times, but he does have it in the locker, you know, to create that moment or get that goal that can obviously change a game. So any thoughts on why on earth Eddie was brought on, and what the hell was going on with Pepe?
So I was reading earlier on tonight, there's offers on the table for Pepe for January that have potentially turned his head. And they're wanting to try and get that sorted out. Now, if that's true, why would you even bother putting them on the bench?
Yeah.
That would be my question. Why bother even putting them on the bench? If you've no intention of putting them on the pitch, put somebody else on the bench. So yeah, I don't think Arteta trusts him. I think that's fairly obvious that Arteta doesn't trust him. And it's not, I know there are people out there who will say that Arteta hasn't given him a chance and stuff. Arteta has done a lot of work with him one-on-one in training, and Arteta has spent a lot of time trying to coach him. And for whatever reason, it's not working. So honestly, at this point, much as I like Pepe, and much as I think that given a run, he still potentially could do something. We've had the conversation before where it's a case of, he can play 90 minutes and do nothing, and then he can pop up in the last minute with one chance and get a goal. But if it's not the sort of luxury player we can afford right now, especially not with Aubameyang. So do you know what? Just let him go. Just let him go in January and get somebody else in.
Yeah.
I'm fed up with it. Just let these players go. Get them out. Get people in who want to be at the club.
Definitely. And this brings us nicely onto this man here, Aubameyang. Obviously, this conversation has been going on since last season. And obviously, Aubameyang didn't have the greatest season last season, but I think most Arsenal fans gave him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, COVID, his mum's health, etc. There were quite a few off the field, issues that could have caused him to lose form. But for whatever reason, this lack of form, lack of confidence has kind of snowballed into this season. He is our captain. He is our talisman. And I still stand by the fact that, in saying he is the best striker at the club, regardless of his current form. However, he's our captain. He's our highest paid player. So
I'm going to jump in here. Sorry, just very quickly, G. I know we don't normally do this, and we don't like to jump in on each other, but he's a captain through an armband. That's it. He's not a captain. He's not the club captain. He has an armband, but he's not a captain.
Lottie, any thoughts?
He's no leader, as I said. He's shocking. I've always said I am actually going to humbly eat my own words, because after the West Brom game, I did say he was back because he got his first hat trick in a long time. So I will eat my words and go back to what I was saying before. He needs to be benched and taught a lesson. He's not good enough right now. Yes, the stats and everything paint a pretty picture, but the fact is, he's had two chances in the last 2 games that he should have scored. As I said to you earlier, G, I could have scored those.
Yeah.
And the United one was even better than the Newcastle one. I mean, his face after the Newcastle one, it's now a meme. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Someone in that defence needs it.
But this is what it is. I was on the Armory the other day, and the show was about Aubameyang, and it was about the striking options and who should play, who should be dropped, etc., etc. And it's like, I understand people's frustration at Aubameyang because it's the same frustration I have as an Arsenal fan. But in a way, and some people will say, oh, you're absolutely clueless. You don't know what you're talking about. And I don't really care, to be honest. As long as you don't insult me, you don't have to agree with me. I just feel like this needs to be taken away from Aubameyang. This is a decision that is not in Aubameyang's hands. He's a player. He's clearly out of form. He's clearly lacking confidence. And he is not in a position, and I don't think any player in his position would say, you know what, coach, put me on the bench. You know what, coach, I'm not the person. Here's the armband. He's been given this armband. And at the time, let's face it, nobody was really up in arms that he was giving the armband, because we were really lacking leadership in the team. He was enjoying his football, and the guy carried us for 2 seasons. So even though he's popular in the dressing room, everybody loved him. And so even though, he wasn't necessarily your obvious choice, at the time, he was almost like your only choice. So it was given to him. Now, obviously, things are not going as well as they were at the time. It's far from it. And I just think to myself, when is Arteta going to make the decision that every single Arsenal fan in the country, if not the world, can see, which is you need to drop him and you need to take the captaincy from him? Now, I'm not saying doing that. I'm not saying to do that all in one full swoop, because you don't want to absolutely destroy the guy. But I think it's clear. It's so obvious to everybody that watches Arsenal, rival fans, pundits, that this guy is not captain material, as Stephen said, as you said. And it's so clear that this guy is not performing. So for me, it's like, as much as, we can sit here week in, week out, and we can criticize him and scrutinize his performances, but ultimately, who's picking him? It's our manager. Of Arsenal Football Club is picking him week in out. And people will sit here and say, well, he's supporting him. He's picking him because he wants him. He wants to support him. He wants to show faith. Give him minutes because he'll get his rhythm back, etc., etc. There's only so long you can do that. It's it's only for so long you can do that. Do you know what I mean? For me now, I'm no longer looking at Aubameyang and criticizing him. Obviously, I'll criticize him, but I'm not blaming him for this situation, because Mikel Arteta is our manager and his job is to manage people. And right now, I honestly think he's mismanaging this Aubameyang situation in terms of the captaincy and in terms of team selection. It's not for Aubameyang to say, oh, by the way, you know what, governor, I'm not scoring any goals, so I'm going to sit this one out. Or, by the way, you know what, I don't have the leadership skills needed for this to be captain, so I'm going to give it back to you. Arteta needs to make the big call, and he's not doing it, in my opinion.
Do you think this makes him? I saw this on Twitter earlier. It was an interesting conversation. Do you think him not taking the armband and not benching him makes Arteta tactically inept? Stephen?
No, I know what people are saying. We're not playing the Aubameyang's strengths and stuff, but do you know what? At some point, Aubameyang has to take responsibility.
Yeah,
he is supposedly a world-class striker on whatever it is, 250, 300 grand a week. Supposed to be the captain of one of the greatest football clubs in the world.
Yeah,
he is supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be a quality finisher. And he is missing chances that I could put away. And I am a fat 40-year-old who couldn't run the length of himself. And I still reckon I could put that ball in the back of the net from where he was standing. So, no, I'm sorry. I get the whole thing with Arteta. I do. And much as I have issues with Arteta, I will back him, but I still have issues with things that Arteta does. I do think that Aubameyang has to take some responsibility. And yeah, I mean,
you know what? Honest. I agree 100%. But I just think, you in your career, Stephen, you've managed people, in different levels, and I just think, like, obviously, part of managing people is you have to support them. You have to encourage, you have to support, when things are not going well, that's part of being a manager. That's part of, leading people. At the same time, you would have been in positions where no matter what you've put in place to support that individual, if they're not doing their job, you have to make a tough call. And I feel like Aubameyang's not showing signs, despite Arteta's faith in him, despite repeatedly picking him and keeping that armband. You're right, we're not seeing enough. I don't necessarily feel like Aubameyang is taking responsibility. And I think at that point, I think Arteta has to take the responsibility away from Aubameyang. And he needs to say, well, look, this is not working.
There's no effort from him. He is effectively, we might as well throw an empty shirt onto the pitch and leave it up front.
Yeah.
For as much as it would do as Aubameyang at the minute. You know, it really, he's frustrating me so much. And I mean, it's who do we play in his place? You know, do you give Martinelli a chance up top? You know, Lacazette would be the natural person, but again, Lacazette doesn't really want to be there anymore. And Kedia doesn't want to be there. Balogun's banging them in for the under-23s, but yet when he came on or when he played against Brentford, he kind of showed I don't think he was ready. Now, maybe, you know, now he's had another sort of few months, give him another chance, put him back in the team. You know, give him that opportunity. So,
and that is the issue, you know, and that's something else I discussed the other night is that, you know, as much as Aubameyang's not in form, you know, I regrettably said, you know, if you get one chance in the game and who do you want it to fall to? You want it to fall to Aubameyang. And it did, and yeah, at the moment it's just not happening. Yeah. It's just not happening, you know.
But then there was other players last night as well were guilty of it. You know, let's not put it all on Aubameyang because Saka, you know, and I've said this before, Saka needs to add goals. And then I said this before the Newcastle game, and he scores against Newcastle. So I think I might have to say this before every game. Saka needs to improve his end product. You know, he does a lot, but he's not, in the grand scheme of things, you know, his goals and assists aren't there yet. Yeah. And he had 2 or 3 opportunities last night where he just positionally was in the wrong place when the ball dropped to him. You know, if he had been, you know, you heard if anybody was watching it on Prime and they heard Ali McCoy's commentary, you know, Ali McCoy kept saying he needs to be 5 yards further in. And if he had been, we could have walked away with that game. You know, we could have finished 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah.
But again, positionally, he just wasn't right. Now, again, whether that's him or whether that's what Arteta is coaching him to do, I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's a question to kind of obviously round up the Aubameyang chat and obviously the United review before we move on to Everton, because I think we could go back and forth all night with regards to Aubameyang and our striking options. But question from Robert. Thank you, Robert. Question to the panel. If one had to go in January, would it be Uba or Laka? Over to you guys.
Stephen, you can go first.
All right, Aubameyang.
Really?
Yep.
Oh my God. Right.
For a reason.
Okay,
I'll just say it.
I have a rationale in my head. So
okay.
Explain, please.
Right. So
I can try to understand that.
Lacazette's leaving at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Aubameyang stays. We want to sign another striker in January.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite clear we need another striker. Now, we don't want to be in a position that them lot up the road found themselves in.
Yeah.
Where they couldn't sign another striker because of Harry Kane.
Okay.
We don't want to be in that position that we can't sign another top quality striker because they're worried they're not going to get a game ahead of Aubameyang.
Okay.
So get rid of him. Get a top striker in.
And so get rid of him and bring in a striker in January.
Yeah.
Thing is, G, I know I've been saying bench him, but I've just seen Calvin's comment. If you back up, look at the North London derby situation. He sat on that bench and sulked like a child. He shouldn't be on that bench at all if he's not performing on the pitch. Don't care how well he's doing behind the scenes. If you're not performing on that pitch when it matters, shouldn't be there. But I completely agree with Stephen. Get rid of him. Get someone like, is it Vlahovic in?
Yeah. My only concern.
Played with Tomiyasu before. Get him in.
Yeah. My only concern with that is that, you know, if we're going to sell Aubameyang in January, then we need to have a plan in place. Like, you know, it can't be, and let's face it, you know, a big money moves out or in a club at January, it's not always possible. Especially when you look at the snail pace in which we move in the market anyway. So I'm just thinking...
And Aubameyang in January.
But that's what I mean. Sell Aubameyang in January, but then, you know, are Fiorentina gonna part ways with Vlahovic? in January when they've got their own kind of season.
Well, they're
ambitions.
looking to sign someone else, so he's going to become their second string, and he wants to be.
I've heard they're signing somebody else, but
yeah,
I've heard
that's the talk at the moment. It's not definite.
I've heard that signing's not got nothing really to do with Vlahovic, but who knows? Neither here nor there. But I don't know. I think it's a mass. I don't know. I'm not completely convinced selling him in January is the best idea.
But G, your argument there that what I'm trying to say is Dortmund didn't want to sell Aubameyang in January, but they did. If you put the right money on the table, you will get who you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In terms of one of them comments, just Gary had put in, maybe the weight of the 350 grand in his back pocket, slowing him down. Gary, if you want to lend me 350 grand, I'll let you know if it does slow us down.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, I think we could be all night talking about Aubameyang. And as Keith says here, Oba got to go get Vlahovic. And I think that's generally NDB 30 TV saying keep Laka. So, it's not, your rationale is pretty much supported. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily saying I disagree. I was a bit surprised, but I understand your rationale and your logic behind it, but I'm just not really sure how I feel about it because it's just so up in the air in terms of the striking options at the moment. But yeah, we that more or less wraps up obviously the United review show. So we're gonna basically take a little short break and we'll see you on the other side so we can preview the Everton game. Right, so welcome back, guys. We've spent the last hour going through the United game and obviously spending quite a while on discussing some of the post-match reaction and particularly discussing Aubameyang's captaincy, whether he should be dropped or not, as well as obviously what his future holds. So if you are just joining us, do go back and watch. It's been quite interesting viewing so far. But yeah, so we are going to obviously kick off this half of the show, previewing the Everton game, which is taking place on Monday at Goodison Park. And obviously, given the result against United, this is, well, I don't know. For me, it's given Everton's form, it's a must-win. We need to get back to winning ways pretty quickly. And I think given the result against United, I think if we don't get a result against what has been a really poor Everton team this season, I really do feel like the pressure is going to be cranked up again on Arteta. So how are we feeling about the game? Everton away on Monday. Stephen?
At this point, I'm still trying to get over last night. So I haven't really thought too much ahead. Everton have been poor this season. Benitez hasn't done an awful lot. He hasn't got them going. That being said, whilst they got hammered by Liverpool, they did start to play a bit better. And they did seem to raise their tempo a bit. But do you know what? If we can't beat Everton, there really needs to be. Do you know what? It's hard that we're getting back to this already. That if we can't beat, if we can't do this, we can't do that, then questions need to be asked.
Yeah.
But this is the reality that we're in. We have a better squad than Everton.
This is the situation
Everton are playing poor. We should be beating them. And if we're not beating them, there is serious issues.
Everton are currently sitting 14th in the league, won 4 games all season, and we are currently 8 points ahead of them in the division. And they've been absolutely awful. Now, don't get me wrong, they've been unfortunate with some injuries. DCL's been out, Richarlison's been out. They've lost some real kind of key players, but yeah, like for me, this is a must win. And sometimes, you know what, I agree with what you're saying, Stephen. It's so weird because it's just like the mood and the momentum just shifts so quickly, like with Arsenal and with the fan base. And even with me, it's like I'm going into the United game really excited, thinking, yeah, there's a win and we could be potentially 8 points ahead. We can be above West Ham and we're sitting in fourth. And all of a sudden we lose to United, and it's just, you get this just sinking feeling that, oh my God, like how much have we actually progressed? In terms of this game, Lottie, obviously away to Everton on Monday, what are your thoughts about this game? Is it a must win? What do you want to see from the lads on Monday night?
Do you know what? Bring it the hell on. It's Monday Night Football. It's Everton. They haven't been the greatest. And do you know what? You never know. Rafa might get sacked. Yeah, no, every game's a big game for the rest of the month now. I mean, United, it was 50-50, to be fair. So bring it the hell on. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. We'll breeze through some of these comments now. Gary here, Everton lack an attack. Thus Arteta will go with 3 at the back. Let's not try and embarrass Everton. That's mean. Anything but at least a 2-goal lead is non-negotiable. So Gary's clear.
I want to embarrass them though, Gary. That's not fair. We need the goal difference.
Gary's clearly stating this is a must-win for him. Chris, Everton were useless against Brentford. Iwobi was rubbish the whole game. They'll probably turn into prime Barcelona on Monday night, though. I bet. Gary again, Ryan Rondon needs a present. Oh no, is it the only one? Please say yes. It says here, the kiss of death, Iwobi will show why 30 million valuation was the right one. Yeah, I'm literally not going to say anything about Iwobi between now and that game. I'm just not going to tempt fate. Richarlison is looking good against Liverpool FC when I saw the highlights. To be honest, I have to be honest, I haven't watched much of Everton this season, but I have seen the results, and I look at the league table and I can tell they're not having a good season. Keith here saying we should get positive results in the next 4 games. If we do, is another thing. Come on, you Gunners. And Joseph here, please hope not Partey on any pivot again. Right, so obviously, we're feeling. I wouldn't necessarily say we're feeling confident when I'm obviously speaking to you guys about Everton, but it's more kind of obviously we're subdued because of obviously last night's result, and we pretty much feel like, well, look, if we can't beat Everton, then we're in real trouble. In terms of obviously team selection this week. I think, Stephen, you suggested I do it because I hadn't done a team for a while. So I'm going to bring the team up. And this is basically the team that I'm going to go for with the Everton game. So for me, it's pretty obvious. Don't need to take too long to tell you why. Ramsdale in goal. He's our number 1. Can see no logical reason for dropping him. The back 4 for me, the only thing I would change is to bring Tierney back. I am starting to ask questions as to why Tierney's not in the team. I think Tavares has done really well coming in, considering I didn't know who he was. But at the end of the day, I think we've kind of lost sight of Tavares' role within the team. His role was to deputise for Tierney. And at the moment, it just feels as though Tierney's fit, so why is he not playing? So for me, defensively, Tierney's a better player. I think Tavares holds his own going forward, but defensively, he's a much better player for me, Tierney, at this stage. So I'm going to put Tierney in the back 4, and obviously Gabriel, Ben White, and Tomiyasu keep their places. In midfield, in the central midfield, I'm going to play Partey. I think Partey's form's been really inconsistent. He either puts in a world-class performance or he's very below par. But right now, for me, out of all our midfield options, he is the best midfielder at the club. Sambi, for me, should never have been dropped against Manchester United, so I'm bringing him straight back in because I really do not want to watch another Arsenal game with El Neni playing in midfield. So please do not select him, Arteta, if you're watching. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Saka. I think he came on against Manchester United, and I think that gives me enough confidence to suggest that he'll be ready for Monday night. So I'm going to bring him back in on the right, and I'm going to keep ESR out on the left. Looking forward to seeing him and Tierney link up on that left-hand side. Now up front, I feel like Aubameyang's left me with no choice really at this stage. So I've dropped the captain, Aubameyang, and I've gone with a front 2 of Lacazette and Martinelli. Whether or not Lacazette will drop deep, and Martinelli will kind of play up top by himself, either side, or Martinelli drop deep. I'm not sure how I'm not entirely sure how I'd want to see the two kind of play, because I don't think they've really played that much together. Probably favouring the idea of Lacazette dropping deep and having Martinelli up there. But at the same time, I know sometimes he can get kind of crowded out and pushed around because he is a bit lightweight. But I just feel like we need to change things up in terms of up front because it's just not working with Aubameyang. So that's the team I've selected. In terms of captain, because obviously I've dropped Aubameyang, I'm going to go for Ramsdale to give him the captain's armband for this match. I would give it to Tierney, but I just think just coming straight back into the side, for me, I just want him to kind of focus on just playing his football for this match. And so I'm going to give it to Ramsdale. I think there are a couple of guys that we could give it to. No doubt Arteta won't give it to them. But I just think in terms of Ramsdale's performances, the way he gets the crowd going, controls the defense, the vocal side of it, the distribution, just all of it. I just think one day he's going to make a fantastic captain. So I'm going to give it to him. So that's the team. And I'll let you guys dissect it, take it apart, do what you want with it. Who do you want to see play on Monday night?
Lottie, do you want to go first?
A lot of background noise at the minute. Do you know what? It depends on Saka's injury. Because obviously he's had that knock and he looked all right up at United, but I'd rather have him come on for minutes. I think I'd move Martinelli back out there and possibly fling in Odegaard just for something different. But other than that, I'm happy with it. Glad you brought Sambi in there. I don't want to see our sideways again. Don't want to see him. The guy don't go forward. Even when he tries to go forward, as Stephen said, he goes backwards. Yeah. Don't want to see him ever again. And that's where players like Damari Gray will take advantage. Because at the moment, he's the one who's scoring without DCL. DCL's been out since August. End of August, I believe. So.
Okay. Stephen?
If that was the lineup on Monday night, I'd be happy enough. I'd take it. My thoughts on it are we have 9 games in 31 days.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be rotation. We're essentially playing a game every 3 or 4 days. There has to be rotation.
Yeah.
And it's where does it start? Smith Rowe's looking tired. He looked tired last night.
Yeah.
Saka coming back, after a knock at the weekend. Lacazette can't play 90 minutes. Partey doesn't seem to be able to play 90 minutes.
It's not looking good, is it?
It's a difficult one. Everton will be tough. My concern with Everton, of all the Everton squad, is Andros Townsend.
Yeah.
Because he turns into prime Iniesta when he plays Arsenal.
Yeah. He actually had a really good start to the season. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if that was the lineup come Monday night, yeah, I'd be happy with it. I would. I can't really fault it. The only person I would probably potentially drop, Partey.
And who would you play in his place?
I'd probably go with Maitland-Niles.
Okay. Midfield 2 of Sambi and Maitland-Niles.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Yeah. Given obviously no point, no
Partey's
problem.
been disappointing.
Yeah, given your comments about Saka and ESR, obviously due to the hectic schedule, me and Lottie were talking about this off air, just how thick and fast the games are coming. What would I pretty much think the defense you would leave as it is, but in terms of obviously Sambi and you said Maitland-Niles in the middle, who would be your 2 wingers and your 2 frontmen for this game then?
All right, I put Martinelli on the left, I put Pepe on the right. And I'd probably give Balogun a go up front with Lacazette playing as a 10, or in that, as a 10, and put Balogun as the 9.
And again, like for me, if I saw that team, I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't. I'm very realistic in terms of where we are as a squad. And like you said, rotation is going to be essential, particularly in this festive period. So I wouldn't necessarily be outraged if I saw that team, because at the end of the day, Arteta's got what he's got to work with, and he's got to make it work, given the amount of games we've got and the limited squad we have. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. But we'll take this team off and then we'll go to the comments. Because I realised when I was putting the comments up that I was hiding your face, Stephen. So apologies for that.
All right. You almost to see my face anyway.
Oh, we do, man. Don't say that. Gio Guna here. Good evening. 100% spot on, G. I think you're referring to the team. NDB 30 TV. Yep, I agree on that team. G Talks Arsenal. We will have a chance with that team. Oba and Pepe on bench in case. Again, Tierney makes the back five look solid. Gary, I like your team, G, but who's 2-footing Uba in practice?
I've got an answer for that. Got an answer for that. Stephen's favourite, 34.
Gary again. KT comes in to rest Tavares, and I hope Nuno knows that. Arteta make sure he knows, please. NDB 30 TV again. Laka for captain, Vice for Ramsdale or Tierney. Yeah, that's a good shout. Laka obviously does have that influence over some of the squad, particularly the younger players. Cal here, when you see how young this team is, one reason why he keeps Uba for the game experience. If things go bad, you need old heads around. Not sure if Laka is a cool head. I just think Aubameyang's too cool, though. That's the problem. He's just too laid back. He doesn't really get animated about anything. Gary again, Uba and game experience, not sure that's a thing. And Gary again, Stephen, picking apart G's lineup, blow that thing up, laugh out loud. No one over 24 could play 90 minutes. All right. So, yeah, look, there's not much more to actually go through other than obviously score predictions and stuff. So, is there anything else you want to discuss from obviously the United game? Well, not the United game. Is there anything you want to discuss with regards to Everton game? Or anything else you've kind of seen on Twitter over the last couple of days that you want to have a chat about before we kind of round things up?
Do you know what? I'm just going to say very quickly, I put a post last night, and I know you were quick to jump to the defense of a couple of comments on it.
100%. What?
People need to understand that everyone is entitled to an opinion. If you don't
100%.
agree with it, fine. You guys in the chat don't necessarily always agree with what we're saying on these shows, but you respect our right to say it, and we respect your right to disagree with it.
Yep.
But these people that are coming on and having a go, like, at no point in my tweet last night did I mention Arteta, and yet someone started having a go at me about, me being Arteta out because, of what I've said. And it's like, no, I never mentioned Arteta once.
Mm-hmm.
And, people having an issue with me saying the fact that the squad isn't good enough.
Yep.
And I will stand by the fact that I've said that since the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that while we were on our 10-game unbeaten run. The squad still isn't good enough. So, I just get a bit frustrated with people trying to make arguments where there isn't arguments to be made. And that's why I'm thankful to you guys that watch this channel and that do interact with us so regularly. The fact that, as I say, you don't always agree with us, but you respect our right to have our opinion, and we respect your right to disagree, and we respect your opinions. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what I mean? Like I often say to you guys that I don't really pay much attention to Twitter at times. I tend to just go on there for the football content that I want to interact with. And obviously, put, Cannon Chatter stuff up there. I might actually tweet myself. I actually realize I don't actually tweet as much as I used to, in terms of if it's not kind of Cannon Chatter or Arsenal related, I don't really do it. But yeah, I saw those comments, and just because I'd watched the game and I was in a bit of a funny mood, I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to have it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not going to have it. Stephen put up a tweet, and it was just about how disappointing the result was. And that, it's clear that, this squad, there's still a lot more work to do. And yeah, a couple of guys just jumped on there and went on the attack. And I just thought, I'm just not having this. And, I was very respectful in my responses. I didn't have to be, because I think one of the comments was that this tweet is shitty. And I just explained, I just said to the person, I said, what's shitty about the tweet? I said, there's nothing shitty about the tweet. And I said, you might want to actually go back and read the tweet again before you kind of make broad statements. And yeah, I just went toe to toe with them for a couple of tweets. There was no arguments, there was no swearing or anything on my part. But I just wanted to kind of, I don't know. I was just in one of those moods where I just thought to myself, nah, I'm just not having this, because, you know, I see a lot of reactionary tweets and reactionary channels and platforms out there, and we're not one of them. You know, we're not a platform that put things out there just because it's clickbait or anything like that. It's something that if we tweet something, it's because that's how we genuinely feel, and that's our opinion. And we have never disregarded or disrespected anybody's opinion. Whether you view this show, whether you comment in the chat, whether you reply to something on our official Twitter account, we're respectful of everybody's opinion, regardless of whether we agree with it or not. So I know Stephen was just like, look, don't bother, don't waste your time. But no, I just had to, because I just felt sometimes people just need to kind of be told, or actually just need to be shown that, you know, what you're talking about is absolute nonsense.
And I think one of them did turn around and end up following the page, you know. So
yeah,
if you're watching tonight, thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah, he actually turned out to be all right, but
yeah, and the thing is, there's no hard feelings. You know, I say this, you know, like now, there's no hard feelings whatsoever. But I just have to, you know, I have to back you up in that. You know, everybody's entitled to opinion, and whether you like that opinion or not, whether you disagree with that opinion or not, it's a person's opinion. And one of the guys actually said to me, it's really refreshing for somebody to be replying who is so respectful. And I said, well, that's what it's about. You know, I'm not here to disrespect you. You're not here to disrespect me. We're both Arsenal fans, and we're expressing how we feel about a result. If we feel differently about that game, that's not a problem. It's okay, you know, and it's no reason to fall out or have a disagreement about. So yeah, it didn't start very well, but it more or less ended very well, which was good. So yeah, no, I had to come to my bro's defense last night, because I just felt a bit ticked off after that game. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it really. So those of you who are still tuned in, thank you for staying with us for so long. If you at this point can put in your score predictions, that'd be great. One thing I haven't done, Stephen, which I need to do, I've totally forgot, is I didn't get a fan's scoreline. So you know what? I think we could probably. Have you got one?
No, pick someone out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're just going to pick someone randomly. So while I go through some of these comments, I'll come to you first, Lottie. Obviously, Monday night Everton game. What's your score prediction?
3-1 Arsenal, another goal for Smith Rowe.
Cool. It's 3-1 Arsenal. Lottie's going with. Keith here says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners. Stephen, what's your score prediction?
I am going to go 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay. 2-0 Arsenal. 2-0 Arsenal. Gary here saying, Stephen, I agree. As long as you... Yes?
Could you make mine 3-0? I need a clean sheet for Ramsdale. Sorry. Do apologise.
Okay. So 3-0 for Lottie. Stephen, sorry, I was reading that comment. I know I said it, but I can't even remember what your word was. What was it? 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Yeah. So 3-0 for Lottie, 2-0 for Stephen. Gary here says, Stephen, I agree. As long as you agree, I'm right. Laugh out loud. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. So we've got 3-1 Lottie, 3-0 Lottie, 2-0 Stephen, and 1-0 for me. Even though Everton have been absolutely atrocious this season, I think we're going to make hard work of it. But I think we'll scrape a 1-0. Come on, Arsenal ladies in the final. Yes, definitely. Wish them all the best of luck. Big game for the ladies this weekend.
Time to get the number 15 over the men.
Yeah. Cal here saying, felt we could have had a draw. Would like to ask you all if you think our attack is improving. I see progress. That we're moving forwards pleases me against a loss. I was deflated and happy-ish. I'm not sure if I see much progress in our attack, if I'm honest.
Can we come back to that question after?
Yeah, no problem. We'll go through these. Gio Guna, respect G, protect your elders. Joking. No, definitely, man. I got to protect my brother, man. Definitely. Sometimes I will just kind of be like, you know what? It's a waste of time, Stephen. Don't even pay it no attention. And then other times I've got to be like, nah, I've got to say something because it was just.
I'm not paying any attention to that comment by Gio Gunner.
Completely unprovoked. So I felt like I had to
hear
say
it, you know, I'm so old.
Yeah. Gary, great show, G, and Stephen. Thank you so much. Chris has gone 3-1 Arsenal. Gary's gone 4-2 to the Arsenal. 2-0 to Arsenal over purely for the FPL. Gio Guna 3-0, 2 for Laka. Chris has gone 3-0. So you know what? Because it's random, because it's different, I'm gonna go with Gary's one of 4-2 to the Arsenal.
Okay.
I just like it because it just stood out. It's very different from all the other score predictions.
So Gary 4-2 to Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. What is the odds of that? Let's hope you're right,
G,
Gary. Yeah.
G, Gary's asking you a question.
Wait. Where is it?
Bottom comment. Very bottom comment.
You skipped over my attacking comment. What I do? I don't know. What comment? Was it this one? We scored the first goal and finished with 2 goals on the road versus United. Attack must be working, and we had chances to get a third. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the attack, Gary. Sorry, apologies for skipping that. I didn't really mean to. I didn't mean to at all. So I must have just missed it. So that comment was obviously is about the attack, Arsenal's attack. And we also had, I'm trying to think, it was also Cal's comment here. So Cal was saying he could see progress. Think our attack is improving. I can see progress. So we're going to have a little general discussion before we close up, just generally about Arsenal's attack. So apologies, Gary, for that. Joe Guna, I am 38, so I feel with you, Stephen. Joe Guna's being nice now, Stephen. And Chris only read half of my comment as well. Oh, God, everyone's just giving it to me tonight. Jeez.
Right.
He said 3-0. Chris said 3-0. He meant the women. He said 3-1 for the men's game.
Oh, is it?
3-0 was about the women's game.
Apologies, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I apologize.
Okay, just on the odds. So Gary, we're using your 4-2 prediction as our charity bet. And hopefully this comes in because this would be a nice little boost to the kitty for Air Ambulance Northern Ireland, which is our chosen charity for this season. The odds are 66-1 on Arsenal winning 4-2.
Nice.
So that would return £67.
Wow.
That
reminds me,
has been placed.
Stephen, Stuart, I've got to send you over some money. Stuart Harrison's given us some money for the pot. He's not on tonight, but I've got to send some money over to you. So I'll get that over to you soon.
Brilliant.
And just because I forgot, I'm going to do it again. Chris said 3-1 to the Arsenal, and then he went on to say 3-0 for the women on Sunday in the FA Cup final. Okay, Chris? Love you, respect you. Thank you for the graphics. All right? Cool. Settled that. And then Joe Guna says, always nice, brother. And lastly here, Keith, I don't see much progress, missing easy chances. We should put away or Uber should. So, yeah. So, generally, there's a bit of, questions here with regards to Cal and Gary stating, they can't see progress with regards to our attack. So, yeah, over to you guys. Are we making progress in our attacking football?
Wally?
Why me first? Considering that Saka and Smith Rowe are scoring a bit more, and we've got obviously Saka on the right way it should be. I'd just have to say yes. I mean, I wasn't angry coming out of that game. As I said to you, I said at the beginning before Stephen came on, I mean, still 2 points clear of United. We didn't roll over to them. That game could have gone either way.
Yeah.
It just didn't go the way we wanted it.
In terms of are we improving going forward, I think overall, yes, I can see a slight improvement. The defense generally is more solid. We have our moments. As I said last night, I don't think particularly Tavares or Ben White were particularly good last night. So from that side of it, the defense as a whole is not bad. There's definitely been a massive improvement with the defense. Going forward, midfield and going, an attack was our weakness then. So yes, I am starting to see slight improvements. I think the big thing for me is we're sitting here today and we're angry that we didn't get a victory at Old Trafford last night.
Yeah.
That I think that in itself shows that there has been progression. Because this time last season, we'd been sitting here angry that we didn't get a victory at Old Trafford. would have taken a draw. Yes, we got the win last season at Old Trafford, but would have probably taken a draw. The fact that we're now angry that we're not winning these games, I think, shows the fact that we have progressed. And even since the start of the season, because who was really angry when we lost to City? We were angry by the manner of the defeat. We were angry that number 34 got sent off and didn't act like a captain and, things like that. But we weren't angry that we lost the game. No. We weren't angry that we lost to Chelsea. We were angry that we lost to Brentford because we felt we should have beat them. But we're actually sitting here angry today and pissed off that we didn't beat United last night. And albeit it is probably one of the poorest United sides we've seen in a while, but no matter what, Old Trafford is still a difficult place to go and get a result. And yet we're angry about it. So I think overall, that shows that we definitely have progressed. But are we progressing quick enough? It's a difficult question. I've said all along, I thought by the end of this year we should be top 4. Yeah. If we're showing progression, if we're showing that this project under Arteta is starting to work, then we need to be in top 4 by the end of this year. And I still stand by that. We have a really good opportunity to be in the top 4 come New Year's Day. So, and if we're not, then I think we'll maybe have to look at things again. Yeah.
I think for me, defensively, I can see it. In terms of the process, I could see it. I can see, Ramsdale's been a phenomenal signing. The back 4 is taking shape. Really good partnerships are forming. I'm happy with the personnel that we've got back there. Midfield is a massive area of concern for me, as it was at the beginning of the season. Forwards, I'm just not convinced. I'm generally not convinced with our offensive play anyway. But I've kind of got to the point now where I don't think I'm going to get to the point where I'm convinced with the players that we've got. I think, it's going to take another 2, maybe 3 transfer windows until Arteta gets in, because it's clear he's not convinced by Pepe. Laka's on the way out. Eddie's going. Aubameyang's future's up in the air. And quite clearly, we're in need of at least 1, maybe 2 midfielders. So I think until I see another maybe 3, 4, 5 additions in the team, in the kind of midfield to attacking options, I'm not convinced with the way we play football offensively, but I'm willing to kind of give it time and give it and have some patience there. So I can see the progression in the defense, not so much in the forwards, but I think it just needs time. I think quite clearly Arteta has targeted the players at the back in terms of personnel, in terms of recruitment. And I just hope now in the January window, in the summer window, we can start to see, the direction move more up the pitch. And then hopefully, end of this season, beginning of next season, we can really see some signs of what's happening. But what he has done with the defense is definitely giving me hope in that can actually be recreated, more kind of upwards of the pitch. So yeah, not completely convinced, but willing to be patient at this point. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah, we've got our score predictions. Massive game on Monday against Everton. It's an evening kickoff. In terms of obviously what we've got coming up now, I don't really know what's happening with regards to shows. Are we doing our review on Tuesday night?
Let's have a quick look. You talk while I work this out.
Well, I'll go through some of these comments. Might as well. Did you want to say something, Lloyd?
Yeah, I'll probably be back with our FA Cup review. There's a group of us going, and we're all going to be online. It's probably going to be about 7:30 on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, for the usual hour slot, and then half-hour break, and then if you guys are on, that's fine. If you guys aren't on, I will go for a bit longer, because obviously there's going to be loads and loads to talk about.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it definitely.
I think we'll probably do Tuesday, and then back next Friday again we'll do the review on Tuesday, and we'll do a preview for Southampton on the Friday night.
Definitely. Just a few more comments here. I take performance over results versus top 3. We need to show strength, but yes, Stephen, the speed is too slow. Keith here, love Ramsdale and Sambi. Chris, I think we are creating chances, but as usual, not taking them. Gary, Ramsdale needs to make his case for England #1. Another incentive. Gio Guna, we need a Santi-esque player. So yeah, obviously, apart from that, we're going to quickly go through the socials. Is there anything else updating? What about football, fantasy Premier League?
Okay, so guys, we've just finished game week 14. 15 starts the first thing tomorrow. You've got 11 till 11 a.m. to sort your teams out.
Cool.
And do you know what, guys? Best news to come out of the United game is Ronaldo's picked up a knock, which is not great for the fantasy football players, but it's great news in my eyes.
Yeah, cool. Socials. Stephen, you want to run through them or do you want me to run through them quickly?
I'll do them.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying doing them lately.
Wait, what am I doing? That's G Talk, stay or go. What am I doing? I just put up the wrong thing.
Sorry, folks. This is what happens when the amateurs run the show.
Here we go. Social, Stephen.
All right. As always, thank you to everybody that's watching the show tonight. If you're watching live and you've been watching live with us, thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. If you're watching this later on playback, thank you as well. Again, we really enjoy the fact that people actually enjoy listening to what we have to say. A lot of the time we talk a load of nonsense, but I'm glad that you like our load of nonsense. If you want to follow us and you don't already, we are on all the major social media platforms. Our Facebook account is Canon Chatter, Instagram Canon_Chatter, and TikTok it's at Canon_Chatter. Although there's not an awful lot on there, but we will start to put a bit more work into our TikTok account. Our Twitter, obviously the main account is at Canon Chatter. If you want to follow me, it's at SB Canon Chatter. If you want to follow our host for the night, it's at G Talks Arsenal. And if you want to I'm getting tongue tied here. If you want to follow the person who's wrapped up like they're in the Antarctic, it's at Lottie_B. With 2 T's and 2 I's because somebody beat her to it. Also, if you want to read any of Lottie's fantastic articles and blogs that she writes, it's lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk, or you can find them all on FanHub. And if you're not on there, give Lottie a wee shout or give me a wee shout and we can get you a code to get you fast track entry into that. If anybody wants to purchase any Canon Chatter t-shirts or hoodies, just send us a wee email to info@canonchatter.com or send me a DM or any of the guys a DM and we can give you more information. But all the prices and information is in the description of the video. Obviously, make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications and hit the like button because all those subs and all those likes help with the algorithms and help push our content out to more people.
Cheers. Thank you so much for doing that, Stephen. Last couple of comments here. Keith, great show as usual. Guys, come on, you Gunners. And Cal here, thanks for the show. Enjoy the weekend, chatters. Definitely, you have a great weekend too. So yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up the show. Obviously, thank you everyone for watching. Lottie, any last words before we tune off?
I really want to mention Aaron Ramsdale at the minute. End of the game, he actually forced the team to come and say thank you to the fans. And I just can't appreciate him enough for it. I had such a bit of a nightmare when I got up there. But that was just the icing on the cake. It made, even though we lost, they still came over to us.
Yeah.
They weren't going to. If it wasn't for Aaron, they wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah.
Would not have bothered, so.
No, that's nice. That's nice. It's small things that count.
I know it is. I mean, you love players that play for the fans.
Yeah.
Not just the badge.
Definitely. NDB30 TV here. Great show. Thank you all. Burnley tickets out on Monday. My next game. Gio Guna up the cannons.
I've already got mine, Jamie.
Have a good night and weekend, guys. You too, Gio Guna. What did you say, Lottie? Did you say something then? I don't know if she can hear us now.
Yeah, I did. I said I've already got my burning secrets for January.
Okay, cool. Stephen, any last words before we go?
Yeah, good luck to the Arsenal women. Obviously going for FA Cup number 15 this weekend. And Lottie, enjoy the game. Enjoy your first experience of the women at Wembley. Make sure and wrap up warm because, you know, you can never have too many layers on there. But enjoy the game. Be safe. Good luck to the women. Hopefully they do it and get number 15.
Definitely. And all I've got to say is, I echo that. Good luck to the women this weekend in the FA Cup final game. Bring on Monday because we do desperately need 3 points. And until next time, keep chatting, guys.